Okay, guys, sorry about that. Excuse me. So here we are, part two. So they pull him out. He's gray and pasty looking. His lips are blue. He's limp. He's not moving. He's not crying. He's not doing anything. My husband, of course, has pictures of all of that. And if I figure out how to put the pictures on, I'll try to get some pictures on up, maybe in another video of it, of his birth. But like I said, he wasn't breathing or anything, and so they immediately started working on him. And I was trying to watch them, working on him, because he wasn't crying, he wasn't anything. And as a mother, to watch your child struggle to get air, it's a very hard thing, because for nearly 9 months you've carried this child. You've protected and nurtured and done everything that you could possibly do to give them the best possible birth, to give them the best outcome. You've really saw to their needs. You've put off whatever it was you wanted, whatever you needed, whatever desires you might have had that weren't good for the baby. You don't do those things. So to watch this child struggle to breathe was a very, very hard thing for me to watch. And my husband walked over, and was taking pictures. They were giving him oxygen. They had to keep slapping his feet. And finally, they were rubbing in the middle of his chest. And finally he gives this weak little wail. And my heart lifted, because even though it was such a little bitty cry, it was still a cry. And that's what I needed. I needed to hear that. It's still hard for me to look at some of the pictures, because I was there, and I know that he wasn't breathing. And I know, that if it wasn't for God, it could have gone so different. And I'm just so grateful that, we have the technology that we have now, and that God was a part of my delivery. I'm really thankful and really grateful for that. Sorry. It's amazing to me, because, going through IVF was a challenge, and going through my pregnancy was a challenge. I didn't expect my delivery to be that much of a challenge, but it was. So they got him breathing, they got him crying, and they weighed him, and he was 5 pounds 6 ounces at birth. As they were working on him, I started to get sick. They were having a problem getting my bleeding controlled. My uterus wouldn't stop bleeding. They were working on that. It was taking them a really, really long time. And by the time they were wrapping things up, like I said, my husband took tons of pictures. He has the pictures with my uterus literally on my stomach, them working on it. And they were explaining everything to my husband the entire time, that they were having problems getting it to stop bleeding, that this wasn't normal, but that, they were going to get it under control one way or the other. And so they got it under control, and my husband was looking at me, and in my mind, I was thinking that I was imagining things. I was like, I know I'm feeling some pain in my stomach. It's got to be in my mind, And then slowly but surely I realized, oh my God, I'm feeling them. And my husband was looking at me, looking at my facial expressions, because I was staring at the ceiling, and I didn't realize that I was making faces, and my anesthesiologist kept saying, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And my husband looked at me and he said, Tracy, are you okay? And I was like, I feel it. And my doctor was like, oh, we're going to get you off this table. And man, he was thinking my back was bothering me. And I was like, no, I think I feel what you're doing. And minute by minute, the pain just increased. So it was practically unbearable, to where I was just telling them, I'm hurting, please, I'm hurting. And the anesthesiologist realized, oh my gosh, we've been at this C-section for a while now, and the spinal that I had actually started to wear off. It was wearing off. So they were calling for fentanyl to get in my IV to try to help with the pain, to try to cope. Fortunately, by that time, they were sewing me up. They did a check on my tubes, because remember, my tubes were clamped, which was why I went through IVF for this pregnancy. And the tubes were still separated. They checked to make sure, that they were separated and everything. They were still separated, and they were sewing me up, and they were telling my husband, they showed him that the tubes were still separated, and they were explaining still, everything along the way. By this time, I didn't care, because I was just in so much pain. I mean, it was, when I tell you, getting hit by a Mack truck probably would have felt better. That's just how much pain it was. I mean, it was ridiculous. And by the time they got me, I don't even remember getting from the delivery room back into my recovery room, because they were trying to get, stuff in me. And by the time we got to my room, I was just crying. I mean, I was squeezing my husband's hand, and I was begging him, please make them give me something, please. And my nurse, like I said, she was wonderful. She's running around. She's frantic. She's trying to get the pain pump ordered. They were trying to get the pain pump. By the time they were getting the pain pump hooked up, my mom was walking in. My mom and my stepdad had made it there. They were walking in, and my mom, she was upset to see me like that, and she just kept telling me, Tracy, just breathe, breathe through it. We're going to help you through this. And my nurse was like, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. I hate that she's hurting this bad, and it's taking us so long to get the pain under control. Because once your pain is out of control, unless they pretty much just knock you out so you don't feel it, it's going to take a minute to get it under control. I think it took about 15 minutes of us using the pain pump every 6 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, I think it was, that you could push the button to just get a minimum of relief, to the point where I could actually ask about my baby. Because for like 30, 40 minutes, I didn't know anything about Samuel. I didn't care at that point, because it wasn't that I didn't care. I was hurting, and I knew that my husband was going to take care of everything with Samuel, but he wouldn't leave me. So everyone was in the room with me, and we were trying to get the pain, like I said, under control. And by the time we started getting under control, I was like, okay, y'all go find out about my baby. He was in the nursery. They said he only needed oxygen for 5 minutes. So they were really surprised, really happy about that. And one of my nurses was like, you're just so blessed, she said, because my son was born at 35 weeks and he went straight to the NICU. Was on a ventilator, couldn't breathe. It needed the oxygen, CPAP and things. And the pediatrician, when she came in, she was like, technically, he's not even 35 weeks. Technically, he's a 34-weeker, because I was 34 weeks and 6 days. So, everyone was really surprised that he didn't have to go to the NICU, that he was only on oxygen for about 5 minutes, then he was able to breathe for himself. They brought him to me once I got up in my regular room out of recovery. Breastfeeding, I got to do that right off. Like I said, my family was there. It was wonderful. It was great. They brought him to me, and it was just this little itty bitty person, and it was just amazing to have him in my arms and to realize that, oh my God, just yesterday I was pregnant and today I have this baby. And then we realized that He was born April 29th, and my 14-year-old's birthday is April 30th. So my boys' birthday are a day apart. So his dad thought that that was just great. He was like, you should have held on for one more day. No, there's no holding on for one more day. This, that was it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a part 3. I'm so sorry, but it's already a little over 10 minutes, so be right back.